Good evening, everybody, and welcome. Grand final time here for the ESL and Genting qualifiers for the Americas. Team NP going up against compLexity for the second time tonight. And, well, in that best of three, it didn't end too well for compLexity. NP looking to continue their solid run through a number of tournaments. They're playing in so many, they've had to drop out of a couple, but they've stuck around in the ESL and Genting qualifiers. We got ourselves into the draft. And also, welcome in my co-caster, Skim. You had a chance to watch that full, long best of three between these two teams not too long ago. Give us a rundown. What happened? Oh, God. Skim, baby. Don't do this to me.
10 seconds remaining.
Hello?
Thank you.
Alright, that was kind of weird. My microphone doesn't like... Yeah, whatever. Alright.
Okay, you're here now.
Yeah, I'm here now. Anyway, compLexity looked really good in game one, but then that really long pause where Envy had to put out a fire, put out the fire alarm, whatever happened, it just threw compLexity off balance, and then they just lost the game because, I don't know, I think they just lost momentum, all the momentum that they had built up at that point, and game two was just a stomp from NP, so... compLexity probably not with the highest morale coming into this game, especially if you consider compLexity's past. Just earlier this year, they had a similar sort of competition versus DC across multiple tournaments. They were in the finals of 3 events and lost all 3 finals against DC. So this could technically happen again against Team NP now.
Yeah, it definitely could. I mean, we'll see how they go, you know, just kind of thinking back to how these teams both got here. NP, you know, they started in the quarterfinals, as did compLexity, different sides of the bracket, single elimination, but they started top and bottom. NP defeated Elite Revenge, which is Jenkins' new team, went through to defeat Infamous 2-0. They haven't dropped a game yet in these qualifiers. compLexity had to beat Team Freedom. They beat them 2-1. They did drop a game there, but then they went on to kind of cruise through against Doo-Wop and take them out 2-0. They found themselves in here. You know, no open qualifier teams or any of the other teams really found their way in. The two kind of favorites did end up in the grand finals one way or another. Now NP, they did not get first. They didn't get the first choice. compLexity chose Radiant, NP chose first pick with the Dire side, and they go for the Mirana first, removing Leshrac and Drow, leaving the Slark in there that compLexity picked twice in their previous series, but I don't know, how did Justin Slark actually go?
I believe he played Slark in both games, and it was okay in the first game. Again, they were leading, but the second game, it's a Slark versus a Void. How well do you really do as a Slark in that kind of scenario, right? It was not good. In the first game, was a great Slark performance, but the second game, just not a chance, really.
Oh, well.
It should be noted that, obviously, outside of this qualifier, Team NP and compLexity face off against each other 4 times in total already. Every single time, NP has won.
First phase Rubik again. NP this time. We saw compLexity run it yesterday, but I've gone with Lina and Kunkka. Swindles Lina, like going to be Z-Freak Kunkka. They picked their 2 supports very early on here, or do you think there's still a chance that Lina is actually swapped into a core role this game?
Unlikely, especially because they've picked it before and it wasn't Swindles, so I don't think it's going to be a core. I guess you could do it. It doesn't do, it does well against Mirana actually. It trades quite well, but it's also a very squishy core, especially against the Mirana, so if you get caught out, you're dead almost immediately, so I wouldn't run it as a core. And by the way, I have to correct myself on the stat. They lost 5 times against NP. They faced off against one another 5 times, and they lost every single time.
Oh, compLexity. If there's a better time to actually break that streak, I don't know if there's one other than now. Take out the Lifestealer against NP. Now, what would you suggest banning against compLexity here? You know, if these two are your 2 big support heroes, do you aim to maybe remove that Legion commander that Mu has been doing so well on in the offlane? Because that has been a scary force in the past couple of games. Mu has shown that offlane Legion commander has, outfarmed a number of one-role heroes and gone to kind of 1v9 the game pretty much. He's carried compLexity through a number of their wins recently. And it will be the Slark removed initially.
I definitely think you want to target Mu with your bans, especially because Lina and Kunkka both work really well with the Legion commander. I think Legion would be a great ban. and they should be aware of it. Like you said, I think Mu has had a lot of outstanding performances on the Legion Commander, but they could also look to ban Justin's heroes and make him a bit more uncomfortable.
Okay, so Faceless Void potentially a
Yeah.
shout out with the Legion Commander and take that one away. Justin, he's been playing what, like Drow Ranger, Void, Slark. Has he had any other big kind of key heroes that have been components of Complexity's drafts recently?
Not really. I mean, obviously there's like the Juggernaut, you know, your typical kind of carry.
Yeah.
It's not nothing special, but I think those are pretty much the most
There's Luna, and I guess
heroes.
Terrorblade is there as well, but NP
Yeah.
likes to play TB themselves. But TB's played by Mu, though, a lot of the time in that kind of dual offlane position where they have like a Wisp and a TB towards the offlane and just try and crush things from there. We'll see which way they go with this, though. As NP thinking hard about this, like, you know, there's a few options out there to actually consider banning, but draft-wise, you know, Mirana mid for Envy, Rubik for 1437, more likely than not going to be picking that one up. We've seen a bit of like Naga support from SVG, you know, going for Radiance in that 4 role, getting a who were they? They were against Infamous, and they got Radiance on their support Naga like a minute and a half or 2 minutes after the Alchemist mid laner did from Infamous. You know, they're very good at creating space, not just for their core heroes, but also creating space for some of these supports to get these big key items. He could have gone Glimmer or Force or Mech or anything like that, but it was kind of a decision in the moment to save up for the Radiance.
It definitely goes to show how well Team NP plays around the Naga Siren, that it's a first ban against them. And it's a valid first ban as well. Multiple teams do that against them because you just don't want to deal with that. They also can run the core Naga, obviously, because Envy is a fantastic Naga player, but you just really don't want to give them that option. It's almost like Mineski at this point, where you just have to ban the Naga every game.
Let's take it the hell out.
Oh!
There comes through the Wisp.
Is it a Corlina? Or Core Kunkka?
We haven't seen Core Kunkka in a long time, and this is why I brought up the potential of Corlina. As you know, we mentioned in the game last night that Chessie still feels that the hero has a place, still a decent hero. You know, she's very squishy and she's very similar to Queen of Pain, right? In a stance that she's very squishy, needs to snowball, needs to get the items up at key timings. You know, the Yule Scepter, Shadow Blade is a great item still on the Lina, as well as like Ether Lens and Blink and things like that. But Kunkka, maybe for the mid, for cancel? I don't know. Like, Lina feels like a cancel hero, right? It's one of those heroes that can just go around killing people, carrying the team with them. But I think it's going to come down to support pairings. Like, is Wisp Lina a good support pairing? Better than Wisp Kunkka?
Probably. Or at the same time, usually you don't really see complexity pairing the supports with the mid laner at all. Usually they focus more on the off lane with Mu, and then the safe lane. So I guess the better question is who's the better safe lane support? Is it Kunkka or Lina? And I would argue Kunkka is probably the better safe lane support, isn't he? It's more sustainable.
I think it's going to come down to what the offlaner is, right? You know,
Yeah, probably.
Lina can just like punch people from a million range, you know, 675, whatever her range is. A whole ton. But Void is the pickup here for Complexity. And, you know, potentially we could be seeing Mu pick up one of these heroes. Maybe it's going to be the dual offlane Lina Kunkka or something like that, you know? With Complexity, you're never quite sure what they're going to pull out of the hat, especially when they've just lost a series and they're like, right, boys, this is game 1 in a best of 5. It's time to maybe throw something into the works here that NP hasn't seen, maybe something that they don't know how to deal with straight up, because NP are relatively straightforward with their drafts. You know, they've got this hero pool that they know how to execute. There's very rarely something that's just like, I didn't expect them to pick that. Because it's mainly about their execution and their timings than weird and fancy and wonky drafts. You know, sure enough, they've got Eternal Envy on their team, and they've got some great minds behind them. But Slardar, Juggernaut, Rubik, Mirana, all 4 heroes are ones that they've run a lot in the past.
Oh, the Jakiro is still in the pool. This could be a Jakiro Slaughter offlane if they want to. It's quite difficult with NP because you don't know, because they've run the support Slaughter before. So you can't really be too sure if this is actually a core Slaughter or not. But this is why Complexity banned the Darkseer. They were afraid of the Slaughter Darkseer combo, but Team NP, they have so many dual lanes up their sleeve that it's almost impossible to ban everything out.
So you want the Jakiro?
I think it's really good here against the Wisp, against the Void, and the Chronosphere as well.
Yeah, he's a decent old support to throw into that off lane. And Void with a time walk, he can only take so much chip damage out from Harass in lane. Enchantress. Oh, I mean, that's an interesting one. I was saying NP don't really go outside the box, but have they run Enchantress a lot recently?
Not that I recall.
Well, regardless, it's likely going to be one of those, you know, aggressive.
Actually, they have. Yeah. In the Dota Pit qualifier versus EG.
Okay.
I ran it twice even, together with the Slaughter ones as well.
So is that going to be offlane Slaughter with SVG Enchantress kind of roaming around in the Radiant jungle? Yeah. Again, like you kind of alluded to, compLexity like to run the 2-1-2 a lot. They like the support with the offlaner, support with the safe laner. Cancel on the mid just like does his thing. He plays the 1v1 vacuum lane and tries to deal with any support rotations that do come in. So Enchantress plus Slaughter can bully Faceless Void a fair amount depending on what creep Ench gets towards that offlane. And Juggernaut Rubik, safe lane for them, while Mirana likely mid. They could swap that up if they want Juggernaut in the safe lane just to maybe have that earlier kill potential with the Blade Fury and Telekinesis. You know, Rubik Jug is a great combo. But they could throw Juggernaut mid if they really wanted to. And there's the Legion. There's the Legion for move.
Right.
So is that going to be a Kunkka mid then, it looks like? Cancel
it looks
picking
like
up
it,
the Kunkka. Okay, so Swindles Lina like we've seen the other day, like we were talking about. The Z-Freak Wisp, natural stuff. With Moo Legion and Justin Void. This seems like they've got a number of comfort heroes here for compLexity, but MP just like have a full comfort draft from what it looks like.
It definitely feels like it, and it feels a bit weird from compLexity, but at the same time, if you look at their past games and you look at how they've played each individual hero before, it kind of makes sense still as well. Kunkka is definitely a hero for cancel, where you can make a lot of plays, where you can farm a lot, but also still be very active around the map. They like comboing the Void with a certain combo, so they do have the ship into Chronosphere or even the Lina into for the Chronosphere, and then there's also the Legion Commander that can set everything up with a duel and have an easy kill on. I wouldn't necessarily say that NP has squishy heroes outside of the Wisp, outside of the Rubik, but you can still find a few kills there.
Well, they've given these obs and sentries over onto Justin as I quickly. For some reason.
Oh, this is awkward.
Yeah, that is very awkward. Enchantress is already there, ready and waiting. Launch one little attack out, but it's not actually gonna do anything. As we change the names from Toby and Knoxville to me and Skim. Looks like we're all set there, ready to go. So NP, they're pretty much going to set up as expected. Yeah. Mirana mid, Jug, Rubik top lane, Slaughter's off lane with the Enchantress probably roaming around down into that dire jungle, gets an Observer Ward given to her. And this is going to force compLexity to address the aggressive nature of the Enchantress, right? They can't sit back and say, okay, you do what you want NP, because NP are going to be the ones with more kill potential from the initial stages of the lane, while compLexity have to maybe try and fight up against that. And I am wondering how Legion Commander with that duel is going to actually do against the Enchantress, right? Because Untouchable doesn't get silenced in duel, does it? As far as I know, anyway.
No, it doesn't. So you're just slowly hitting them.
Yeah, so you get like one hit during the duel unless you get a Silver Edge or something.
It's like a slow motion fight.
I guess all three of their cores could potentially think about Silver Edges. They're just not really primary items. As Cancel gets stunned with the arrow initially. Not going to go for the crush, just going to get that bounty rune. MSS chasing on in here. Crush lands again. On to Cancel. The damage output looks good as well. The LSA's Swindle slowing things a bit. The Torrent will catch two on the back end, and Cancel will retreat, but that's one of his shared tangos gone. And he'll have to bring himself a salve. Envy. Same kind of story though. Regen is lacking a little bit there for the two mid laners. They'll have to bring themselves out some salves and heal themselves back up, while Enchantress, it's not just the aggressive dual lane with the Slaughter, it's also the easy rotation in towards this mid lane as SVG, the courier, hello, oh, it's coming in, he wants it, but it's microed back behind the tier 2, and Cancel will get his salve. But SVG already has a big satyr, and Cancel's not going to have a good time in this mid lane.
Yep, he's going to start on a level disadvantage. He had to use or buy a salve already and use it, and Envy also got the rune, I believe. It wasn't Envy, yeah, it wasn't Envy, but still.
Double rune for Envy.
Hey, compLexity won regardless yesterday, because they never got a rune yesterday, I think, in their best of 3.
Yeah, they didn't get any of the initial runes. Duop got double bounty rune in both. Yeah, all full initial runes in the games. And that was that was an interesting series, though. Really, I mean, game one should have been do-ups from start to finish. compLexity somehow managed to sort of weasel themselves into a win up against them. It's a lot more difficult to find errors and mistakes from NP though and exploit them because they just make fewer. You know, that's one big thing to take away from this is NP literally just make fewer mistakes than a lot of the other opponents compLexity has been going up against.
Well, for sure, this is the end boss. And speaking of end boss, Enchantress bringing a lot of creeps in here.
Oh, cancel! I got the right clicks coming in. Envy will find the final blow, the Satyr and the Hellbear Smasher from SVG as he refreshes the Satyr up as well. Can now look towards this offlane, where Slardar is, even alone, farming really nicely. 7-0, probably stole a bunch of neutral creeps there from the pull across by Swindles. But they've not shut down Slardar at all. He's just hit level 3, it's 2 minutes in. Like, this is exceptional from NP. Their lane setup has worked perfectly, and again, it comes down to what I said, compLexity have to address this. They're the ones, the onus is on them to respond and react to what NP are doing. But the big question is always going to be, can they and how do they? You know, do they TP the Wisp? Because the Wisp is a great defensive support to come in and try and regen someone up and keep them on lane, but doesn't offer you a great amount of aggressive potential unless you group up as, 3 or 4 people to actually battle against NP.
The way compLexity usually plays, it's very unlikely for the Wisp to rotate anytime soon. They will always make sure that Moo just has a really good time up here, and will probably not rotate unless Moo's level 6 already. So I think they're quote-unquote fine in letting the other lane suffer in Rose.
1, 4,
He's
3,
dead,
7.
isn't he?
Oh, Moo.
Yep.
Lucky there with a proc. That moment of courage, but 1, 4, 3, 7 got a little bit antsy there. Went for the
Bottom lane,
telekinesis.
they're going void.
I couldn't get the spin or anything like that. You're right. Justin has been gone on. LSA will keep him alive for now, and MSS can't go diving in under the tier 1. Just non-stop though. A nice kill up on top lane for Moo and Z-Freak. Aggressive dual lane working out decently, and they're farming very nicely on this top. There are other lanes. Maybe this is what they look at, right? Is that they're doing so well on top lane that, okay, Void, really, he's just going to get that Chronosphere up and running, then we can look to fight, get level 6 on the lead.
Cancel mid lane.
Oh man, I see it. The leap in forward from Envy. He's found the kill, a solo one this time. Cancel. You're meant to be breaking even in this 1v1, but Envy seems to be just outplaying him.
Obviously, Envy did have the level advantage because of that earlier kill, but this level advantage, look at him, he's level 5 now, and Cancel is struggling to hit level 4. I guess he hits level 4 now, but still. For a mid laner, 1 level advantage is quite huge.
It is, especially when SVG can just roam across again and look for another gank. Trying to dive top lane though, AUI. Forced back under his tier 1, and 1437 chased back by Moo. They've got the telekinesis and spin.
Oh.
Do a lot of damage with the Wisp, especially coming back into heal. While Cancel is battling against an Enchantress in this jungle. X-Mark back onto SVG. Swindles comes in to try and battle as well. And okay, it looks like they're going to find a kill here. With another Dragon Slayer, they should be able to secure this one as long as Swindles doesn't miss it. Oh god, the arrow comes through and hits Cancel as well. And SVG somehow has escaped. The Starstorm lands down and Cancel's dead again. Envy comes in to save the day, and Swindles, time to bail away from this, I think. There's another arrow ready from Envy. If he can just find the line. Well, Enchantress denies herself to the neutrals.
MSS coming in though.
They know. I think Envy knows where. Yeah, that they do. They know where Swindles is. He's got no mana. The Wisp comes in to try and save him, but the arrow's there as well. Oh, 1 to 4, and NP are just strolling away with this. They rotate the Wisp in, but still get nothing done.
Well, at least Cancel has his bottle now.
Bright side.
Yeah.
Mr. Brightside over here. Okay.
And Void has had a lot of free farm now.
Look at this. Envy TP's bottom lane. He realizes, okay, my lane is shoved up to the tier 1. There's experience to be had bottom. Slardar has gone back to base to regen. Why not TP to bottom? He's actually not going to stick around. He's bailed, and this is another full creep wave coming in, but I guess Slardar will be there in time for at least 1 or 2 of these creeps as he TPs forward, and Envy can just arrow down the big Satyr, go and get the 6-minute rune, and then return back to lane. But it's one of those really nifty little moves. Like, not a lot of players would have been like, huh, I should TP bot. They would be sitting bottom rune waiting for it, or they'd go and get like 1 CS on the mid lane, double troll. You are absolutely right. The Wisp with the regen of the tether, it's not going to be enough, and Moo, well, maybe it is. The spin Level 3 still not doing enough damage with both press the attack and tether. There's so much regen. Like, I always underestimate how much healing comes out of this combination.
And this is why they like to run this dual lane. They know very much how far they can extend. Obviously, they were also a bit lucky, I guess, because it took SVG quite a while to rotate. He wanted to initiate this game quite a while ago, but obviously he found the troll in a camp far, far away, and it took him a while to rotate. But ironically, it kind of slowed down this game, didn't it? If you look at the other two lanes, the fact that Enchantress failed to gank top means that Cancel can feel a bit safer in this mid lane. And like I pointed out earlier, Void has been free farming for a while now.
Yeah, Void up to level 7. We do have a level 6 Slaughter with Raindrops, Tranquils, and a whole bunch of other stuff, though. And I do worry about Cancel. Of course, it is a hero that can come back with team fights. You know, Torrent Boat, great abilities. He's going to go for the Tidebringer build, though, and likely just try and finish off like FaZe and Armlet. But it'd be nice to see maybe some stacks built up for him, because clearing stacks with Tidebringer and even just like throwing a boat onto them is well worth it. It's not a massively long cooldown for this Kunkka.
If you actually look at net worth and last hits, Cancel is doing better than AUI. Or, well, it's close. And in terms of last hits, he's doing better, but in terms of net worth, obviously he's behind. But that doesn't bode well for NP. They invested a lot in making sure that this Cancel is being kept down, but then their safe lane Juggernaut is not really getting anything either.
I think it's okay. Juggernaut can still sort of swing things back into the game. Again, NP are a great team at picking when to fight, and I think Slardar's Blink is going to be a huge component here as the arrow slides in between the Wisp and the Legion Commander with a Fairy Fire. It looks like Z-Freak. Oh man, can he? No, he can't. Even with the bottle charges, he still drops to Envy, and now they close in on Moo, but he's got himself an Invis room.
Oh, he
very
sentry.
fortunate. Sentry's down. He chose the correct way to go, though. Actually moves back into the dire jungle. He's got duel available, but again, choosing a target here is so difficult.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
For sure. But yeah, good movement from him in dodging that. Top lane, Cancel moves in. They do not want to give up this tower, and I think that's the right move. They might even go for a dual boat. Oh, he's actually his boat is on cooldown. Apparently he used it mid, I guess.
Yeah, it's like I was saying. You need to. I think he used it in the creep wave, in the creep camp over to the southeast of his tier 1.
Oh, I guess, yeah.
Because using boat to farm, it's a relatively low cooldown. It's just unfortunate that they decided to try and go for a fight straight after he used it. They'll look to give Rubik level 6 mid, at least for now. But yeah, Slardar's Blink Dagger is like a huge component, always, of NP's drafts. I don't think I've seen a game where MSS has struggled to get Blink. They've always managed to give him the space he needs and the ability to actually farm the Blink Dagger at a reasonable rate. And right now, 10 minutes in, he's not going to have an exceptionally fast one, like we've seen from maybe some other offlaners where they go like 5 and 0 in lane. But he's got a good timing. He's also getting lots of levels down in this bottom lane. But I think, like you said, there's 3 core heroes from the Radiant actually up in the top 4 of net worth now.
Yep. They've slowed the game down a bit on NP. I'm not sure if you paid attention to it, but Envy was in the jungle a lot, giving the mid lane to Rose and making sure that they get a level 6 on the Rubik. And as soon as the Rubik hits level 6, like on the XP, they smoke up and make sure they go for a gank now. Because before it wasn't that great, but with the level 6 Rubik, you definitely can go for a gank. Enchantress is also positioned up with 2 creeps. 2 good creeps as well. And this is maybe Death Swindle? Yeah, it's a Death Swindle.
Trying to come defend him, but there's only the Void here, and with no Chrono available, will just be the full movement onto this tier 1 bottom lane. Again, kind of converging onto MSS's position to give him a bit of a better time on this Blink Dagger, get the tier 1. Line those pockets with the gold, and AUI, he's been left on his lonesome at top lane. Time to bail back into the jungle, doesn't want to stick around. Void is even scouting for him over towards this creep camp, and yeah, AUI realizes, okay, there's a number of heroes that have flashed top, so I'll just move myself mid. No reason to stay top where there's a whole bunch of kill potential here between Chrono and Duel. The rest of the team, oh god, look at this. Double Satyr coming through, 1200 gold on MSS. Was the tower given to him? It was. He gave the gold across. I'm going to try and farm him up as quickly as they possibly can.
They're wrapping around though. They want to fight this. Lina and Kunkka are wrapping around behind them. They can relocate, isn't it? Yep, they're relocating.
Moonlight Shadows here, though, and in comes the Wisp. The Chrono not going to be thrown down. The boat looks like it will land onto the X, onto Envy and the Enchantress. Oh, have they got reveal? Can they see it coming in? The Shadow Blast come out, and now the Chrono down. Envy's caught inside, and with a dual win, they will get at least one for their troubles. His dominating streak stolen as well, as NP, the full retreat back across into the other lanes. Hide themselves away from all these complexity heroes. They might even go into AUI mid lane if we can just catch him. X-Mark is there. AUI
he has no mana.
Juke himself. There's no spin. There's just a torrent. He goes for the naked one, and now they go for the X as well. With the damage coming through from the Void, they're going to find AUI on top of the Envy kill. And Juggernaut stuck around mid just that little bit too long.
Yeah, that should not have happened. Honestly, it was a weird decision for complexity to fight in the first place without any invis detection. I think they were kind of relying on Justin to hit just a really good chrono and making sure that they do get that vision. Was a bit lucky that they still got Envy. Unfortunate that they didn't get more. They could have gotten like that double boat, and Torrent was beautiful by cancel, by the way.
Apparently we're dumb, and the Slardar got killed by the boat earlier on. It wasn't a farming one.
Oh, alright.
Like before cancel moved top, we missed the Slardar dying.
T-Tors.
Yeah.
Double T-Tors. E-your casters.
Yeah.
Lol.
Just typical stuff, you know? Just normal. Gotta embrace your idiocy sometimes.
Sure.
Iron Talon for AUI.
Radiant's middle tower is under
Farm the
attack.
jungle some more. He does need
Is under attack.
to really pick things up here as Blink Dagger's about 500 gold away for MSS. It's not looking too bad, but a good tier 1 there for the Radiant team as they're looking for Lincolns on the Void, and they've got Blink Dagger on that Legion Commander, so these jump initiations are going to be absolutely huge for them. Complexity, they've put themselves in good stead this game, honestly. They've moved themselves around the map, kind of addressed what NP were doing. They limited the damage that the Enchantress was able to do in the early game, and Enchantress now, well, needs to get some items up. You know, there's no Dragon Lance, long way from Aghanim Scepter or anything like that. 1,200 gold in the bank. Likely look for the Dragon Lance Treads build.
And we
did
found a
kill Swindle's bottom, yeah.
Yeah, we found a solo kill there. Quite nicely done. But yeah, in general, it's actually admirable how Complexity came back into this game. I mean, if you look at Cancel's early game, he got absolutely trashed. He had to buy himself, then there was Enchantress bullying him the entire time. He died 3 times. And he's still doing well in terms of net worth.
Yeah, he's doing very well. And just cancel things, I guess. Phase drums. Maybe, I mean, Armour's like such a key component of Core Conquer, at least from what we've seen in European games. But again, that Silver Edge could be huge here against the Enchantress. Just able to take away the Untouchable, which is now up to level 3. Dire Observer Ward will spot out Swindles, but a good sentry down from the man will take away that vision from NP, and you just see them now retreat back, a little bit more timid about what's coming towards them on his bottom. But the spread of heroes here looks really good from Complexity. Like, sure enough, Envy, he's got that Ogre Club, and I mean, is he gonna go? He's got to go Aghanim Scepter, right?
Sure, I think you just pick it up now for the HP.
Get it for the HP,
Usually,
the strength. Oh man, oh god, the Blink Crush. They've got Starstorm and Arrow, they're going to time this one though. Oh yeah, never mind. They've got Torrent in from the Rubik. The duel comes out from Moo though, onto 1437. And NP, they'll give them that, a freebie. As they kill off the Kunkka and say, okay, we'll trade. Good.
They have a blink on the Slaughter now, they spot him out as well. But they relocate out again.
Yeah, they do extract. Don't want to stick around for too long. Yeah, not the Kunkka, the Void. Oh my god, my brain. My brain skim. I need to sleep sometime this week, apparently. That's yeah, slowing down that Lincoln's on Justin's Void is a pretty huge deal when you've got, you know, telekinesis, amp damage, Omni Slash. And sure enough, it only pops the first thing of the Omni Slash, but still annoying for the Juggernaut.
Mid lane, Slaughter comes in. He does have a blink.
Oh, they're looking for the double crush, but they're only going to find Swindles. Amplified damage is there. Cancel. He's got the combo down with the X Torrent boat. Now the Chrono, and well, Swindle says, yeah, you initiate on me, I'll kill you off, mate. I've got Laguna Blade. Stuck in there.
Rubik's still X.
Level 1 X, though, it's not
great.
a massive spell. I think he'd prefer to have Torrent or something. Oh, they're thinking about the Blink duel, but cancelled out by Fade Bolt as the arrow slides on through past Justin. And cancel. Stick around. The other 3 teammates to take that tier 1, while Wisp back in Fountain. Just regenning back up. NP, they seem a little bit lost here the past 5-6 minutes or so. compLexity have been on the front foot, and Enchantress goes back for the Hand of Midas, not the Dragonlance build. Looking to aim maybe to hit this timing a little bit nicer with the Juggernaut and the Mirana especially, I think, because Jug and Mirana, they've got some items, but they need to finish their big key items. They've got the components to them, but not the full ones themselves, as Yasha's done for Juggernaut. Could think about the Diffusal Blade, maybe the full Manta's a possibility there. Well, Aghanim's, of course, for Envy is still a good distance away, 1500 or so.
I think NP is slowing down the game and are more relying on the late game now because A, they realize the Juggernaut is way too far behind in terms of farm, and B, it's difficult to find those kills. You pointed out earlier on that the Slaughter Blink is incremental in NP's game plan, but at the same time, how many heroes can you really kill with a Blink? I mean, you saw already how they were struggling to kill the Lina, because as soon as one other hero is there to back them up, they're gonna find a rebuttal kill on compLexity's side, so I think it's the right decision to go for the Midas on the Enchantress and slow down things first and farm up and prepare for the late game. And I think you just fall back a little bit and even maybe go for the Midas on Slaughter again as well.
Yeah, there's definitely potential. Maybe skip the Force Staff for now, go Hand of Midas. But they're looking for a fight on bottom with a Moonlight Shadow. They're aiming to go for the Legion, but there's a relocate save available, except, oh, AUI nearly had that. He went for the Omni Slash to cancel. The move was there, the plan was set. It was just a little bit too quick, I think. compLexity.
See, Freak, give it to me. He's doing it.
Is he going to do the TP?
Oh, almost did it.
Oh, unfortunate. Nice attempt.
I love it when people do it.
Tried the TP trick. TP just before your relocate comes out. Oh, Swindles. Oh, Swindles. He's pushed top tier 2. He's actually juked this one out nicely. And now they've got Justin the back end as well with the Chrono available to come in and save the day. Arrow slides again through the eye of the needle. And MSS, he can blink and crush whenever he wants to. They'll find Swindles here. I think that's just a straight up kill pretty much. But nice attempt with the Void and the Kunkka to try and slow that one down. Again, you're delaying NP, stopping them from finding a snappy kill and then farm. That's what NP love to do. They want these fast movements. They want to kill. They want to go back to farming. Efficient play. But compLexity, a little more dynamic, a little more crisp it feels in this game than they were in the previous series.
Oh, for sure, for sure. It looks like, I mean, I mentioned it before. After that pause tilt, basically, it's difficult, or it was difficult for compLexity to really fight in that game 2. I think you could tell that in game 2 they were just not really focused, and it seems to me like they reset properly and they're smoking up and looking for another kill now.
Get some more dual wins on Moo, why not? He's up to 2
they have
so
two
far.
Armlets now. 2 omelets. Both of them just finished, so this is the timing to look for a fight.
They look very strong right now, and I think they're going to find 1437. He pings. Oh, it's 1437 pinging, saying, hey, maybe they're going to jump me, and, well, yeah, he does. Unfortunately for him, there are no teammates here from NP to actually back him up, and the great thing about this is the tier 2 is already being pushed by this wave. It's shoving in, so great timing by compLexity to actually go in, find a pick, and get a tier 2, forcing the glyph. NP don't look like they want to give this one up so easily, though. Swindles Lina. It's moving in through the dire jungle, but the rest of NP in from the side. The crush with the damage. Onto Justin, not enough. The boat will miss with the torrent as well. They'll chase down Envy. There's the Moonlight Shadow. And Omni Slash not going to do a lot from AUI. A bit of chip damage there, but again, they've got these armlets. Swindles, he drops finally. The Chrono onto 2. Justin catches the Enchantress and the Mirana. They've got the damage output here to look for Envy. Stick charge is there. He's got no leap, though, and he's going to drop. Enchantress trying to turn it back onto Justin. The trouble is, Kunkka has been caught. Cancel will finally fall. A 3 for 1. I guess 2 if you count the Rubik in the initial stages of that preliminary engagement. You're right, yeah. He's going to try and jump away. I don't think there's anything to chase him down. A good reinitiation there by MSS, and they'll look for the tier 1 mid. Scary for compLexity, though, because that's all their ultimates, and maybe not Laguna Blade, but all their control elements from their team fight. Actually going to go down there as, 1437 puts an Obs Ward straight on top. Plonks it down on top of a sentry.
Yeah, I think compLexity, just that initial boat, they tried to make sure that Justin survives, and honestly, the way NP disengaged from that fight again was brilliant. They always made sure to sort of dodge around the heroes and made sure that Justin didn't find an easy chrono. He set up for 3 chronos and didn't find a perfect setup, and then he had to settle for that dual chrono. And there was no follow-up because boat was already used, Kunkka wasn't a different fight anyway, and they didn't have the support leaner either, so it wasn't great. And
oh, the rotation in. There's so many heroes here, annihilated in his own jungle.
And they saw the Wisp relocate as well.
Where is he?
They don't know exactly where he was.
I'm going to watch him as he comes back in. And he's behind tier 2 bottom. He's not going to get found, but they'll go into Roshan now after killing the Legion. And what we're looking at, so there is the Mantra on AUI and Aghanims, of course, on Envy. And as MSS decides to go not for the Midas, but for the 4-staff. So they want to keep some mid-game aggression about him, have that mobility behind that Slardar, as the Dragonlance is done for the Enchantress. Just looked like a way for SVG to keep himself relevant in the game, right? And keep the levels going, was struggling to find any kills or real momentum while moving around the map. It's the Hand of Midas for SVG. We'll get him to level 11, and of course we'll continue these items flowing into his inventory.
Looking at the farm, AY finally caught up with everybody else. Of course, Justin's still ahead because Justin has done a really good job of just staying ahead in terms of farm. He's been always farming the enemy jungle as well, so he's never taking farm away from his own team. And I mean, he's sitting quite comfortably at the top. He has his Linkens and 2k gold to boot.
And we were looking at these two armors from Kunkka and Legion, thinking this was going to be the time for compLexity to go and really consolidate what it felt like they had. They did have like a 1,000 net worth lead or so, you know, not an amazing amount by any means, but you look at the swing suddenly. NP win one team fight top lane. They go and take a couple of towers, they take Roshan, they find a couple of kills, and all of a sudden they're looking sort of 3,000 net worth ahead of compLexity, 3,000 experience or so as the graph continues. But Moonlight Shadow here from Envy, I think, maybe preempting.
There's a sentry.
A sentry's down, but Z-Freak and Moo both retreat. Oh, Z-Freak tries to tether across. The arrow comes out. Dodges it nicely, though. But he's got no tether anymore. He'll TP himself back out, but MSS ready with a Blink Crush, and down goes the IO.
Quite unfortunate. Even though they even saw it coming, but obviously there's only so little you can do as a Wisp. But yeah, in general, looking at the vision, compLexity has actually pretty good vision around the map. They have very deep vision as well. And NP only now set their first really aggressive ward.
Alright, we'll see cancel straight away.
Oh,
actually moving in onto Swindles. The attack comes through. Laguna Blade back onto Envy, but already dead, and the Dragon Slave is what's stolen here by 1437, and he's found himself a Blink Dagger, actually. We were looking at the dynamic of sort of net worth distribution, right? And we talk about how well NP get farm on their support heroes during the draft. You look now at the Wisp and the Lina, who were doing decently in the first 10 minutes or so, are dragging behind now. They've given so much farm over to Justin, Cancel, and Moo. But the trouble is, they aren't massively far ahead of the opponent's cause. It's the dire supports that are now looking to leap and bound into the forefront.
Oh, the
relocate chrono comes in a little bit wonky there, I think, from Justin, but he had to do what he had to do, and now the duel will come in, and they'll secure the kill onto AUI with the boat from Cancel. 1,269 victories for Moo.
Was maybe a bit too cocky from AY. I think generally farming the opponent's jungle was obviously good, but he was farming the part of the jungle that they didn't have any vision over. So, and you always have to be careful about the relocate, which I guess if you look in this entire game, they haven't really had that many aggressive relocates. I think most of their relocates have been rather passive, but still, this is something they have to be careful about. MSS looks like he maybe wants to go for something here with the Enchantress. Yeah, that comes in as well, yeah.
They're just setting up camp in this dire jungle. They've got 3 observe wards all around in this area, so mid-tier 2 is likely where they head to, just for that nice little objective, while they control the farming spots of the Radiant team. And you can see where compLexity have gone. Lina as well as Void, both on this top lane, just trying to keep the farm going. But then you've got 3 heroes, again, compLexity kind of held in their base with their other 2 cores and one of the supports. These guys aren't farming. Well, SVG and Envy fire into this tier 1 tower. Maybe I'll try and look for a treat out here from Justin to come back and fight, but
Swindles. Oh no, you're so. Honestly, if Swindles just has never mind.
Duel. And Envy, can they save him? That's the big question. They tried to turn this one back with the damage coming through. The Aegis is gone. But they've already killed off the Wisp. Now the X Mark, not really going to accomplish too much. There's no Chrono for 20 seconds. And Justin blinks away from the impetus shot.
Tower is under attack.
Envy again baiting with his Mirana. He sits so aggressively, just trying to bait spells out. And Swindles very nearly drops there if the arrow had only hit. Or if MSS could have been there with a Blink Crush. But they don't overcommit. They don't dive.
Has fallen.
They don't give anything away. They get the tier 2. Again, making sure that the lead they have is the lead they'll keep.
Yeah, this is great play from NP. They're very patient. They're very disciplined, making sure that if they do take those objectives, that they're not overstepping their boundaries. And the timing from the for that fight as well, or for that push as well, was really good because they knew that obviously AY died for the Chrono, so Justin for most of that time did not have a Chronosphere at all. So obviously they knew that complexity would not engage, and I thought the duel was kind of nice. It definitely caught them off guard, I think, but at the same time, it was just an Aegis.
Yeah. I mean, AUI even went top lane to actually like fight against Justin and maybe bait him into staying a little bit longer. So there's that little mind game there as well, where Justin thought, do I stay here? Do I TP back and fight even without Chrono? And this is where in-game leadership and in-game calls are so important. You know, Swindles has to really lay down the law and say, you get back right now. We need to fight around this tier 2, but they did give it up in the end. And taking Aegis is a great little snag as well for complexity. Now Envy maybe can't play as aggressively with his Mirana. He's been kind of known to just leap into the middle of battle or blink into the middle of battle to try and bait enemies, soak up some damage, then leap out with a little slitherine of health. But we'll see exactly how he manages to play out the rest of the game as he saved up 2,400 gold here. Maybe a Lincoln Sphere wouldn't be too bad for him, you know, against X-Mark, against Duel, against Laguna Blade, but usually we see the E-Blade as the aggressive option.
A Lincoln Sphere would be really great, though. There aren't really a lot of reliable ways to cancel it outside of the Kunkka, pretty much. So that could be a really great option, but oh, Justin, no. NP definitely knows that he wants to farm here, and good awareness.
The jump and the blink. They're going to
The
scout him
arrow,
with the
scouts him.
arrow. They know where he's jumped to. He's going to try and TP. Envy. He's cutting through the trees. They left the wrong way. There's the Lincoln's popped and telekinesis up with the LSA down. Justin. Oh, man. He could have TP'd, I think, but there's always that fear you're going to get hit by an arrow or a crush from fog or something like that, and that's your Void dead for a minute now. Tragic stuff for complexity as he was trying to split push away.
And look at NP immediately TPing down to the bottom lane, and they just want to put on the aggression as well because they knew that cancel was here a minute ago. And yep, there they are.
Relocate coming through though. Envy has leapt and blinked in. The crush down onto 2. They're going to turn it back onto the Wisp. The damage output, it's good. They're going to keep them all in here. X-Mark in the boat and Torrent as well as Mirana caught in place. The duel is down and Moo will take the kill as they turn to battle against MSS. 1437 has another LSA. Oh no, he doesn't. He's got no mana for it. But AUI joins the battle. He's got a Diffusal Blade, but he's got no blink. He'll go for the Omni Slash back onto creeps. Apparently hit them down. Farm those creeps with the ulti and cancel. I'm not talking yourself out of this one. I want to see you try. He's got himself almost a Daedalus complete, but the crush from MSS. No! Oh! Oh! Cancel somehow. I don't know how, but he's back in Fountain. Oh, the Force Staff over.
You had to provoke him. You had to provoke him. He did it.
Cancel. So fortunate.
I still think it was a great movement from NP, and it was just unfortunate that they didn't have a lot of vision there and that they immediately got relocated on. But overall, I think they still fought quite well. Obviously, they didn't get a high priority kills. I think they just killed the Wisp and the Lina. But still, the idea behind it was pretty great.
Moo's BKB. About to make a
going for the solo
debut.
kill. Yep, alright.
Make sure that Untouchable not going to be used anymore. So, I talked about the Silver Edge, but of course there are BKBs available for Legion and Kunkka if they want to go that way. But Kunkka's going to go the damage route here with Armlet Daedalus. Chrysalis and Demon Edge both in his stash.
Yeah, they definitely need more damage. They need to make use of those Chronos as well. I mean, Justin can hit the best Chronos in the world right now, and if there's no follow-up, they're pretty pointless because Justin himself, with his item build, obviously doesn't deal a lot of damage just yet. Looks like he is going for the AC,
yeah,
which I guess is the most, I wouldn't say the most standard build, but it's the Shadow build. It's the build that Justin has adopted so far, so It's a good build. Oh, Rose.
You
Rose,
can't,
please.
you can't rely on just Swindles to deal damage into Chrono either. Yeah, 1437, he blinks back. I think realizing what was happening there's no way Swindles drags a creep wave and stands around if there are no heroes up on top of that ramp. Envy waiting by his secret shop. Justin, he's hiding in the trees, but they're going to Moonlight Shadow here, and Envy's just going to scout them out, I think. He's not going to go on a fighting mission. He's on a scouting mission. Where's he going?
There's a sentry in mid lane, though.
He wants to cut the creep wave, actually, Envy. Fair enough.
That's just Envy stuff, honestly.
Like, AUI's farming bottom, Envy's just going around doing whatever the hell he wants. Complexity are like AFK on top of a fountain, on top of a hill, on top of a ramp. They're not doing anything. You know, I think NP know full well what's going on here. Observer Ward is placed to give vision as well, but it's a good smoke now from Complexity.
Oh, the chrono
into Envy. This might give him time to BKB leap. No, it won't. There's enough damage coming in with a torrent.
could have been a duel win.
It could have.
But it's good to get Envy off the map. I mean, he's obviously one of the main cores for NP, and he farms so much. He creates so much space as well. And like you said, he provided so much information for his team.
But he still died in the end.
He still died in the end, yeah.
It would have been all amazing if Envy managed to survive, but the smoke from Complexity was really well timed, I think. You know, realizing, okay, NP know what we're up to. They probably think that we're farming dire jungle and maybe making the most of our time, but they do get themselves a nice little kill.
You could argue that this is the kind of play that a support should be making. You know what Envy just did there? The kind of like pilot eye kind of move. He's just providing a lot of vision around the map. He draws the enemy team behind the river again. But yeah, he's a core.
SVG getting chased down by Swindles, and last time we saw Swindles, oh god, no, it's fine, never mind. Last time we saw Swindles Lena, he had Yule Scepter by like 12 minutes, then he had Shadow Blade at like 16, and he was getting super farmed. In this game, it just hasn't been the same story. He's behind the IO in terms of net worth. Z-Freak yet to get a mech. He's still got 1,200 gold in the bank that he could maybe shove towards that, but the big one now is Roshan's alive. A little skeleton will scout it for the Dire team. Looks like they're going to utilize a smoke and maybe a Moonlight Shadow to move themselves, find a pick-off down in the Radiant jungle, and then go get the Aegis for themselves.
In general, these two supports in Complexity side have not gotten a lot of farm. Even Z-Freak, he's usually more farm than this, or there's definitely been games where he has just gotten like a very early mech as well, and this is not the case. He's probably going to be like, what? Actually, he can get it now if he wants to. But still, 34-minute, 35-minute mech.
Yeah, when you compare Enchantress to the Wisp, she has double the farm, right? That's where a lot of this discrepancy comes from. Complexity have dragged back what looked like close to a 10k net worth lead for NP, back to about 6,000. So they've you know done a decent swing back there, but with experience actually going back down towards 0. NP need this Aegis to try and go and accomplish something out on the map, because with all the tier 2s gone, it's no longer a case of, hey, we can just go and take towers. We can, you know, see where Complexity are, we push the opposite side of the map, we TP back, we defend, which has been the kind of normal algorithm as the Chrono comes in onto Envy. His Aegis might just get popped immediately here as, oh what? They leave him alive apparently. Right. Okay, Blink Crush onto 3, AUI comes through as well. They've got the LC with the slash down onto them. Oh god, Complexity! They've fallen apart. All of a sudden they've done fucked up, they left Envy alive, and NP, they punish. They exploit the weakness, no buyback on Moo or Justin. And I was just saying that there's no objectives on the map for NP to take. It's not going to be a, hey, we split push, we proxy push, we do this, we do the normal algorithm as a Blink Crush force staff in onto Swindles, and down he goes as well. Oh, okay, I think this might be game. Well, it's definitely going to be a tier 3 and maybe a laner axe, but Complexity all of a sudden, one slip. One little slip.
So, alright. I'm trying to... I don't want to upset Febby, so that's why I'm trying to figure out what Complexity is thinking at that point. Maybe they think, alright, it's just an Aegis anyway. Nah, I think they just have to trigger the Aegis. But even then, they probably would have still lost the fight, even if they do get the kill, because NP was just in such a great position. That double or that triple crush was just huge. And oh, that's that Kunkka.
Yeah, it was such an awkward position for them to be in, you know, catching solo Mirana with Chrono. Maybe they thought other people were smoked behind. They're coming with a BKB duel onto Enchantress, and it looks like Moo will get bashed up and destroyed! The winner goes to Enchantress while the boat will finally land, and Chrono now comes out of Justin, again off cooldown. As LSA finishes off Envy. There's a Laguna Blade in the back end. They've dropped the Juggernaut as well, but Z Freak in his own base will die to creeps. Unfortunately for him, the chase is on. 1437, he's bashed up by the Void, and Moonlight Shadow is down, and there's no reveal. They know where he is, but they won't be able to find him just yet. Blink, and he's away even with no TP. He's found a way to escape, so mid lane of Rax, top tier 3 gone. A lot of gold goes back the way of complexity with the way the fight kind of ended. You know, 3 heroes, almost 4, dying there from NP. But now it's like a landslide, right? They did so well bringing the game slowly but surely back and back and back. Experience went towards 0. Gold was going back down towards 0 as well, hung around 6,000. And then suddenly it's just like spike. NP massively in the lead.
The one team fight. It's gonna be so difficult to get back. Oh, they spot out Envy with a Korea. They can't really do anything about it. He has Blink. But yeah, that... I will say they did get 3 really good kills. Even though they gave away the dual win to the Enchantress, you still... Oh, Envy. The bash.
Oh god, of course. The second hit with a duel as well. Yeah, there we go. Envy. Stuck around too long.
Oh, EE summer. Yeah, but I guess this is all also just really good for them. They buy themselves a bit more time with this Envy kill, and they, you know, it's a dual win. They get a lot of money through this, but still, how are they mentally? Like, how is complexity dealing with this on a mental level? Because we talked about this earlier as well. They were a very emotional team. They had that sort of, I guess, sort of tilt moment in game 1 because of that long pause. So how do they deal with this?
That's a good question. How do they deal with this? Maybe wait for NP to feed away a couple of EE kills. Stack up the duels onto Moo maybe. He's got his Shadow Blade now. Maybe looking for that Silver Edge. But
you know, and they do have the double Daedalus in Kunkka as well. So they have a lineup that can totally...
he's got 2?
Yeah. They can totally fight high ground from behind as well. It's not that big of an... Or it could be a lot worse. They definitely have a lineup capable of fighting this, but still, I think the biggest question here is how do they deal with this on a mental level? Like, how do they emotionally handle this? And I don't think complexity has shown the best track record in that regard, so we'll see.
They will go back around their tier 3, or at least where it used to stand mid and smoke inside their base. I don't know if they're expecting NP to come to them because they're waiting around for a long time in this area. Sentry's down. Okay, they're scared of like a Moonlight Shadow or something coming in, or an Observe Ward stuck around on lane.
I think they needed to check whether or not they smoked underneath the ward, because they actually smoked without any vision there in the first place, and then someone pinged, guys, can we please make sure there was no ward here? And there wasn't. But I still think it was sort of obvious. And if you see NP's movement, I think they're definitely expecting this. And they looks like they're baiting somebody, Rubik maybe? No, they're not baiting anybody.
Oh, Roshan. Find out when it's up in about 2.5 minutes. Other lanes are being pushed in, and I think it's super obvious for NP what's going on. You know, mid creep wave is in the base. There's no way that complexity actually not ganking you.
Well, NP, they can take their time, I think. They could technically wait for another few items if they wanted to. They don't need to force the issue. They could wait what looks to be a butterfly for Envy. Actually, I think it's done, isn't it? Yeah, it's done.
Yeah, it must be on the courier.
No buyback on Envy.
He...
I will say they obviously still have 2 tier 2s left, so even if he dies there, that's probably not game losing.
It's not disastrous, and also the fact the only with the butterfly, you know, no MKBs on the Radiant team. How do they kill him with a duel into Laguna Blade and like a crit from Kunkka hitting someone else just to make sure he doesn't miss?
See, but that's as
long as he gets his BKB off on Envy.
Yeah, but that's like the really good part about having a Kunk in general. You don't necessarily need the MKB. You just need to hit like a creep or Rubik, I guess. So he doesn't really care about evasion at all.
Envy is pushing top lane alone. The lines are drawn by AUI saying, hey guys, we have to go and sit behind Envy, but Mirana TP's back to base, doesn't want to be sticking a neck out too far on this top lane. But complexity again, they're just all grouping up as 4. With one hero, Cancel is alone towards the mid lane. I don't know what he's up to. Well, he drops a TP to get 2 TPs. I guess that was someone else's TP that he's left on the floor, and he's got himself his own 2. But Cancel is literally just standing around in base, I don't know, twiddling his thumbs, wondering what to do with himself.
It's pretty scary for complexity. They have a really deep ward that should normally provide them with vision, but they didn't see anybody from NP. Nobody's defending bottom, so now it should be obvious that they're probably smoked up or have the Mirana ultimate triggered. But yeah, Envy shows himself mid, and now it's gonna be an obvious fight top, I guess. Push, fight, something.
Open racks, why not? You've already taken the tier 3 here.
It's an Aghanims on Rubik, by the way.
Oh, nice. Big old Laguna Blade.
The Chronosphere is going to be huge. I think stealing the Chronosphere and disabling the Legion, the Wisp, or even the Kunkka could be game-winning.
Imagine the boat.
Yeah.
The boat into Crush, into Starstorm. That'll be pretty sick as well. Just drag them all back. Like a big old vacuum, but they won't commit to the top push. Creep Wave is allowed to go in there as Complexity are still down this bottom lane. And it is scary from NP. Oh, is this a pause from Complexity to try and tilt NP maybe, like we saw in the previous series?
Romanian yelled pause. It's
maybe his house is on fire.
Maybe. But yeah, the way NP is moving is very annoying for Complexity to deal with because they give away 0 information. They're moving as 5, they're moving in their own jungle, they're moving in an area where Complexity has no vision, and Complexity as a result feels very threatened. That's why Cancel is always in his base. He has no idea, he cannot even farm those waves directly because for all they know, NP is sitting behind the wave with the Moonlight Shadow and just waiting for somebody to farm it. That's why the creeps are hitting the top racks right now. And NP, I think this is good for NP because they're threatening Complexity basically. They're still farming, and they're still pushing.
Yeah, that spike back up for Complexity is dipping back down for NP. Again, you know, Complexity just grouping up as 4 or 5 in one area of the map, not really farming too many jungle camps or anything. While NP, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's the threat of the mid lane and top lane push. Even this Observe Ward from Complexity on the top ramp, it gives vision, but if they're smoked or Mirana invised, they can just jump out of nowhere and find a little kill. The one trouble I have though with this is that Cancel doesn't have BOTs.
Yeah.
So he can't like actually go and join the team fight. So if NP go bottom right now and fight, it's a 5v4.
That's definitely a bit of a curious decision, and I wonder if Complexity is just doing it because they're hoping to find a straggler more so than engaging in a proper team fight. But yeah, I definitely agree that fighting without Cancel isn't really that great of an idea if you do want to engage in a 5-on-5 fight. But I guess at the same time, who else would you leave back in base, you know, to defend the creeps? Nobody else can reliably push out the wave like Cancel can.
No, it kind of has to be. I mean, maybe Lina, but it kind of has to be Cancel, I think, because Lina gives you that kind of guaranteed burst damage onto one target, just in case one hero from NP comes down to this bottom lane to farm near the tier 2, which is never going to happen. Tier 2 dire bottom is like the bane of my existence. Honestly, the amount like, oh, dear lord, like we've lost battle cups defending that tower. We've lost pub games defending that tower. Because you think, right, oh, it's on 100 HP, I'm going to come and deny it, and then you realize that in such a closed off space, there are 4 choke points around the tower that you can get caught off in. Sure, they look like escape routes, but they're just more routes for enemies to close you off in. It is honestly such a scary tower to try and defend unless you are in front of the tower fighting actually forward from the ramp, you know? You can't come up the ramp from behind it and say we're going to defend. You have to come in from the west. You have to actually be in front of that tower to be set up and defend it. So if Complexity are in this position or maybe a little bit further forward, they're in a great place to proxy push into that tier 2, and NP can't really stop it. So I think they'll just dodge the fight until Cancel's here.
All right, who do you think benefits more from this pause? NP or complexity? Mind you, that complexity even asked for this pause. Obviously, we could argue that they didn't intentionally ask for this pause, and it's just really an issue with Cancel and whatever. But just curious, who do you think benefits more from this pause?
I seriously don't think that NP ever care about pauses. Like I just feel that they're, alt-tabbing to watch anime or staring longingly up at their anime posters or something like that, and they just zone out. They don't care, and then. But the big thing is, all of these players, once they alt-tab back into the game, they focus straight back in, right? They just click straight back into the game. There's no lost mentality, lost momentum or anything like that. They're just, right, this is what we were doing, repeat the plan, let's go for it. Whereas complexity are, from past experience watching them, a lot more emotional in how they resolve coming back into a game after a pause, or even coming back into a series after the first or second game. They can struggle when that momentum is broken and they have to come back and, reset their brains and reset the plan and relay all of the information that has happened in the past 42 minutes, because a big part of Dota is that continuation of data going through your brain, right? It's like, this happened, this caused this to happen, and this was the sequence of events that led to this. And now you've got to try and remember, right, this is the game we're in.
It's funny that you say this, that NP probably just doesn't need to refocus or anything, because in the first game between them earlier in Dota Pit, when they did have that long pause, and after they wanted to when they wanted to unpause, Swindles actually told them, "Hey guys, we need 30 seconds to refocus first." So I definitely agree with you there, and I think that this is something that complexity generally has issues with, but I feel like in this game especially, a pause could benefit them because they can reset and refocus and try and talk more about what they really want to do.
Okay.
And, I mean, you saw after the pause, immediately they all TP'd back to the base. And it feels like they used the pause to really discuss what they want to do in this game. And they're like, guys, hey, maybe it doesn't really make sense for all 4 of us to be here right now, so maybe just reset, go back to base, we're going to push at the lanes, we're going to get a few items, and then maybe we look for a fight later.
Tactical pause, then.
Yeah, maybe.
Tactical pause.
Void picks up a Demon Edge, so he's aware of the butterfly from Envy, obviously, so working on the MKB.
Good scan from the Radiant. Will at least spot someone moving around near that Roshan pit. It's about 20 seconds until the big man's up, so NP can consider moving around into that area. Moonlight Shadow going to move forward, though. The trouble is, there's no heroes around here. It feels like the last 2 Moonlight Shadows or something have been used to actually move around the map rather than actually looking for teamfights, looking for kills.
Oh. And this is where complexity is spreading the map better. They're using the map better. They're a bit more daring, and everybody's farming to some degree. Or, well, at least the cores are farming to some degree. Whereas NP, they've been continuously moving as a unit. And I think now... I was just going to say now it's the first time they actually break up, but Envy's not the only one that TP's bottom, so screw that.
Successful arrow on a creep. Very nearly.
They have to be careful. You
Catching
cannot... Alright.
They're going to go into Roshan. Complexity are in the area, though. This could
Cancel
be
is not
huge for
close.
them. Oh, man. He's going to go clear mid-creep wave and actually run across there. Think about going into Rosh with a chrono, but Roshan's already dead. This is going to be Aegis and Cheese.
Yeah, you gotta give this
Moo
up.
has blinked, but it's all gone. The Cheese is on the floor, and MSS will take that along with the gem that he's got for himself.
Unfortunate, but at the same time, you kind of had to give it up. Cancel was in no position to really contest it. And if Cancel hadn't been there in the first place, NP probably doesn't go for it because they see nobody's defending mid. So it's difficult to argue that Complexity could have gone for it.
Straight into a smoke out of the pit. An expected move, really, it should be from Complexity. Maybe not with the Moonlight Shadow, though. Sentry Ward is down, but they've got no vision on the high ground. The scan comes out from the Dire.
Maybe.
They see a hero. Well, at least they know a hero is in the vicinity. Mid lane, they're going to go in. Drag back with the X mark, though. Oh, cancel to get back to base. NP, though, they've got this concave all around the Radiant steps Top lane shoving in hard. Mud Golem just going to go and hit the ranged racks a little bit. Fair enough. Enchantress utilizing that enchant now. We've kind of gone past the mid game. Get the Hellbear for that nice little aura as well. But 3 lanes pushing in potentially here. compLexity have 3 lanes to defend, and from what we've seen, you know, they've got a great kind of 5v5 lineup. They can go chrono, they can land these big combo spells. But if their efforts are spread across multiple lanes, NP, I feel, do have the advantage. And overall, NP have definitely got themselves a hefty lead in gold, but experience, actually for a period there, around 38 minutes, went back the way of compLexity. Item-wise, we're looking at a bunch of blinks from Cole. Still over on that Kunkka, the double Daedalus, blink armlet, and now he's got the boots of travel as well, so he will have the ability to join these team fights. When compLexity actually move across the map to maybe be the aggressors on these tier 2s.
They have an Abyssal on Jug, so that's an additional way to initiate a team fight these days. You can blink Crush, blink Abyssal. It's going to be difficult, especially because I don't think he has revealed it yet. No, I mean, it's okay, it's obvious now. But still, it's a BKB piercing disable, so this is something to look out for. And on compLexity's side, not really a lot of items coming up. I guess the MKB is done, but Justin also doesn't have buyback now.
Cancel. I'm just doing a little X mark TP, clear the wave, get back to base. Make sure they're not giving too much away here. NP have spread across the map quite thin. 2 heroes bot, 2 mid, and Enchantress is miles away with no way to get into the fight. Looks like Envy is given a signal there to try and shove mid and top, as 1437 nearly had the blink telekinesis. With Torrent available on top of that, cancel. He does have to be very wary about these kind of instant jump initiation tools that NP have. Even with the X mark back, he can get chain stunned and potentially just killed.
They definitely have a lot of burst, but I think Cancel's doing a good job at making sure that he doesn't spend too much time up there, so he's always blinking in the very last second, making sure that, if anything, only a spell or 2 hit him. This has to be a nerve-wracking game for both sides.
I mean, for compLexity, they're just stuck in their base, clearing waves over and over again.
One misstep.
It's more like it's more like X-Hero Siege or Enfos or something for them than it is actual Dota 2. I've struggled to leave their base in the past couple of minutes, and now in come the Invis creeps. NP, blink crush there onto Justin. A little bit of chip damage as he holds onto his time walk. Has blink now as well with the chrono, but won't be going in on it. Nice little sentry to give them vision of that, of course. compLexity sentries all over their base with as much vision as they can garner to actually watch out for NP coming in. Envy.
Hey, that's an effigy.
A nice little bit of gold and maybe a little bit of BM against Cancel as it was his effigy. I'm gonna take your effigy now, says Envy. Bottom, Justin jumps away from Enchantress, but they've gone Invis here with a Shadow Blade. They blink forward to the BKB, looking for the solo kill. Enchantress is caught. They're going to find one in the meantime. Top lane, they're going to go in to fight. Oh, they've caught the Lina. They've got the kill, and the Glyph is forced. They'll look for the ranged racks at the very least. They'll find it. With MSS wailing away at the melee racks as well. Aegis has gone, and Juggernaut's killed off the Void elsewhere, but the fight top continues with the X mark into boat.
He has no BKB.
Oh, man. Envy just leaps away, though. NP will extract, and there's no way they can be stopped from continuing the fight as Swindles. His brother tries to save him, but he's stunned into oblivion and taken out of the game. 2 heroes dead with no buyback for a minute. Oh, Cancel tries to go in with a big old crit, but MSS will just sprint himself away and move. Again, dead for 70 seconds. The cheese is popped by the Slardar. Wisp will be the 4th to die as buybacks come out from compLexity, trying to hold their base, but I think NP might have found the killing blow here. Going for the jugular now with a Fade Bolt onto Cancel. Lockdown, and the final bash from MSS will secure the kill. AUI in the meantime, he's just been going around the base hitting buildings. GG's called, it's all over. Game number 1 will go the way of NP in this best of 5.
Great game from NP, honestly. Sure, they had their issues in the mid game, but overall, I think they executed the draft quite well. They were very patient and disciplined. We talked about it, how they used 2 Moonlight Shadows just to scout and just to, you know, try and maybe like poke into potential pickoff. But overall, just very patient play from them. And complexity, I think they'll have to rethink their laning stage, especially. Sure, they came back from it, but that was a big issue. They lost 2 lanes quite heavily, or I guess they lost one lane quite heavily and didn't really gain too much from one lane. But overall, just yeah, very disciplined play from NP.
It was good in the end. Maybe a little bit scared the way that complexity found a way back into things with a couple of good chronos and moving around the map nicely. Enchantress had that period where first 4 minutes was excellent, then kind of fell into a little bit of a slumber for Enchantress as she went back into Midas. But then farmed up so heavily, honestly. Even has a dual win to her name. But NP take game number 1. Best of 5. We've got a bunch of games to come as well. Let's see if complexity can try and break that losing streak against NP as game 2 comes up after this break.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to ESL 1 Cologne.
Ladies and gentlemen, everyone, welcome to ESL 1. They're waiting to come back in. They're up in the high ground with Field Life right, and they got it! He's down! Under 6 seconds! Universe in trouble! This could be it!
Get your team apparel now at shop.eslgaming.com.